Hey guys, so for today's video, we're going to do a review and an first impression of the UTG Super Slim mounts. We got the T1, T2 mount and the Super Slim RMR mount. This is a 2-in-1 combo, so you got your absolute co-witness and then a low mount for something that's going on like an AK or a rail that would require a lower mount. So, we'll start with the T1, T2. Both of these are going to be made out of aluminum, and specifically 6061. If I get to focus, 6061 T6. As you can see the same there, 6061. So, for those of you watching, because I've had a few people be like, oh, certain companies are trash, blah, blah, blah. Well, one, if you're watching this is a budget mount, so I don't know why you're watching a budget mount video if you're going to trash on it. Two, this material that it's made out of, though, is the same material that they're using for Midwest Industries and the American Defense manufacturer. They use a 6061. However, their mount is more of like a brick style, but that is the same material. So the only way you're going to get the 7075 would be like the Reptilia mount that I've done a review on and a Geisley. So if you're looking for a much more durable, something similar to what your AR platform is going to be made out of, something like that, that's where you're going to have to look at. But the common ones are 6061. So, out of the box, you got your mount. Like I said, this is an absolute co-witness mount. You got your hardware, give you a couple backup screws for the small ones, for the optic, and the side one here. There is no manual because everything you're going to need to know is going to be on the back side here as far as your torque value and everything as far as that goes, as far as height, weight, all of that. 1.2 ounces for this one, 35 inch-pounds on the side screw and 12 inch-pounds on the bottom, which you usually see. Depending on the one, I have used 15 inch-pounds on those bottom screws. You gotta be careful because if there's a warranty involved, it could void it. But I find that 15 inch-pounds, I haven't had any issues, but that's kind of what I do. But they recommend 12. But that's just because of the torque wrench that I have doesn't go to 12. So overall, pretty basic. I will be putting this onto, or using this for a Romeo 5. This one's got a little bit of a paint job. But the main reason that I'm swapping this one out is, if you've seen in the Reptilia video, it has no recoil lugs to it. So that greatly affects a person's return to zero because your recoil is dependent solely on the screw that is your mounting hardware, and that's rounded and can be inconsistent through high rounds of shooting. It can be known to fail in that way. The other thing is if you remove it, put it back on, you lose a high risk of losing your return to zero, where with the recoil lugs on here, which is 3, you're going to have a much higher chance of having a true return to zero and overall handling that recoil. So this isn't a durability test. It's going to be a review, and then in maybe a year or two do a review of overall durability. But I'll get this one mounted up a little later and show you guys what that looks like. We'll take a look at the RMR mount. Pop this one open. All right, so hardware again, like we said, the manual is on the back. 1.3 ounce, 3.7 ounces for the high, or for the low, 1.5 ounces for the high mount or co-witness. Same torque value, 35 inch-pounds for the side, 12 inch-pounds for mounting that RMR to the mounts. And there they are. The one thing I like about these over the T1, I kind of wish, I guess personally, that they would have kept the same overall cuts. You can see this is the wall here is a lot slimmer these are a lot thicker, but then you go and they give you a little more girth. There's a little more material on the outsides here. And like I said, this one was 1.2 ounces, and this mount will be the 1.50 ounces. But I kind of like that this has a 2 screw mount system as compared to the 1. So, but Reptilia, Geisley, all them, a lot of them still use a single screw mount. So not that that's bad, but in my head, it would make sense to have 2. It's an anodized, so this is going to be similar to that finish on your AR where you scratch it, you get some marks, you can rub it off easy enough. But again, you get the recoil lugs on the RMR on both the high and the co-witness and the low mount. So overall, getting a good fit to the rail or whatever you're mounting that optic to. It's going to have a good return to zero with those recoil lugs. But overall, pretty basic, pretty simple. I have an RMR on a pistol right now, but like I said, I was able to pick these here up for, it was like $15, and I couldn't pass it up. I was like, holy cow, I'm just gonna grab them. Then if I ever wanted to move some optics around, I have the ability to. This one, I think after the coupon code from Optics Planet, I think I got it for 20. So again, $20 for something that's made out of the same material as let's say a $60 to $70 Midwest Industries or a $100 and some American Defense, right? Same material though. So I'm gonna mount this up, and then we'll just look at the co-witness height, or how close these mounts match up. So hold on. All right, guys. So really quick, wanted to go over, show you this. As far as a matchup goes, I get in the camera. So that is going to be almost spot on for true height, as far as an absolute co-witness goes. And I say that because one would think that co-witness is standard across the board, but it seems like they're not, because that Holosun that I did a review on, it says co-witness, but its mount is definitely more of a lower 1/3. So just wanted to throw that out there, as far as it'll say co-witness and then sometimes they're not, and this one is. So if you're looking for one for like a Romeo, which makes more sense to put this on, because people will argue, oh, why would you put a $700 T1 onto a $20 mount? I don't know, but someone might be wanting a different mount than, nothing, because they come with nothing. So just to start them out, right? But they are a true co-witness. So if you have a Romeo and you're like, hey, I want something better than what this is going to match it almost exactly. The holes match up perfectly. I'm just putting a little Loctite on there. As far as the sizes of those screws, the ones they come with, it's a true T10, so it matches exactly what you take out. I am going to use the screws they provide just because it comes with it, and if there's any machining tolerance differences, I'm going to stick with those. My trick is I put a little Loctite inside the threads, then it cures here, as compared to trying to put it on these threads and having it go everywhere. The side mount, this is a T, the larger one is a T20. So depend on, if you're like, what is that? Mounting system, depend on what you have. T20. And then the nice part is, I have seen with some of these where they clamp, and you go to clamp to the rail, where this is very specific as to what side is up, what side is down, and thankfully this is not one of those. It's overall machined equally, so there is no making sure that's correct. Again, like I said, I'm using Loctite because it does not specify not to use Loctite. On all of the stuff that I mount up, I use Loctite unless it specifically specifies not to. Like I have a couple worn mounts for an optic or for a scope, and it says do not use Loctite. I don't know why. I don't know why you wouldn't, but they specify don't. So I don't, just because I don't know if it has to do with correct seating of everything. But I'll finish mounting this up, and then we'll show you the final thing. All right, there she is all mounted up. So just in case you're curious what it was going to look like overall, kind of reminds me of the Reptilia a little bit, just kind of, you know, very slim in this area. Really nice compared to, you know, if you saw that Reptilia, you can fit your tool in here to access those screws and make sure that you're getting that buttoned up nice and tight and secure. Don't have to worry about what your torque value is. So like that was the one downside of the Reptilia. They just say snug it, and you're kind of taking a guess. So, you know, these guys provide you with a torque value and then give you the ability to actually get that true torque value to it. And again, like I said, the one thing I like is I'm going to have a couple screws left over just in case something, you know, God forbid something fail. But I do like that they provide it, because sometimes you have an oopsie where you're moving something and the screw goes missing. You're like, really? I lost a 10-cent screw, and now I gotta find, you know, I don't want to buy a whole new mount just to get a replacement screw. But depending on who you're working with, hopefully they'll set you up with something. I guess really that's it. Like I said, I just wanted to do a simple review of this. Hopefully in like a year or so, or maybe in 6 months, I'll do a follow-up video on this as far as the overall durability, how it's held up. Like I said, it is an exact match to the original, so that's going to be nice because it's going to match up with a Juliet 3 that I have, and should go together really well. Thanks.